All right. Ever dreamt of swapping your zip code for the American dream?
You're not alone if you have.
The Diversity Visa
Or
program
the DV lottery, as most people call it.
offers that
A
chance.
shot at a fresh start right here in the U.S.
And we're dissecting the official DV 2026 instructions and FAQs
Arming you with the insider knowledge you'll need.
to navigate this beast.
It's a fascinating program, really.
So many immigration pathways prioritize family ties or having some specialized skills,
Right, but the DV lottery is different.
like a global address book.
Seeking out individuals from countries that haven't historically sent as many immigrants to the U.S.
Okay, so let's get to the chase.
Let's.
Who can actually throw their hat in the ring?
It's all about diversity, as the name implies.
But what does that actually mean when it comes to eligibility? Because I'm sure.
So many people think
Yeah.
that ANY country with low immigration to the U.S. is eligible.
Interesting.
But the program uses a really complicated formula
Oh, really?
that looks at not just current immigration numbers, but
Hmm.
also historical trends.
Mm.
We're talking decades ago.
Like how far back?
A country could have really low immigration numbers today,
Okay.
but if they had high immigration, say, 50 years ago,
Oh, I see.
they might still be ineligible.
So it's not just about what's happening right now.
Yep.
It's about the long game.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. But you know what I think trips people up the absolute most?
What's that?
Chargeability.
Oh, yeah.
What is that all about?
It sounds so official, right?
It really does.
But it's actually pretty simple. It all boils down to your birth country.
Okay.
That's what the program looks at,
Makes sense.
to determine if you could apply or not.
To figure out your eligibility,
Right, but
there's always a but.
there are a few curveballs.
Okay, I like it.
Let's say you were born in a country that's ineligible right now,
Okay.
but your spouse,
Yeah.
they come from a qualifying nation.
Oh, okay.
You might be able to use their birth country.
So love really can conquer all.
It can.
Even immigration law.
Sometimes, yeah.
Amazing. But let's say you're applying as a family.
Okay.
Your name, Andy, your spouses are both on this application.
Right.
What if one of you already has a green card?
Oh, yeah. That changes things.
Does it?
If one spouse is a permanent resident already,
Right.
the other spouse is actually exempt from the DV lottery requirements,
Oh, wow.
including the chargeability rule we were just talking about.
Wow.
They would apply under a totally different visa category,
Oh, interesting.
probably a spousal visa.
That is so interesting.
It's really interesting how all these immigration pathways connect.
It really is. Talk about a plot twist.
Right.
Okay, so birthplace, or should I say chargeability, is settled.
I've got that covered.
But we both know that's not the only hurdle. There's that whole education or work experience requirement.
Yes.
And let's be honest, this trips people up way more than you'd think.
It really does.
It does.
A lot of people just think, oh, I have a job.
Yeah,
But the instructions are so specific.
they really are.
It has to be at least a high school education.
Or the equivalent.
And that or equivalent is so important.
Yeah, it seems like people really get caught up on that.
12 years in a formal education program,
Wow. Okay.
recognized by whoever is in charge of education there.
So are these online courses that promise you a really quick high school diploma?
Yeah.
Are those not going to cut it?
Probably not.
Yeah,
The U.S. government really takes those educational credentials seriously.
of course.
And for those who maybe didn't take the traditional high school route,
Yeah.
there's always the work experience option.
Oh, right.
But again, not every job counts.
I'm sensing a theme here.
You need at least 2 years of experience
In the past 5 years.
within the past 5 years, yes, in a profession that usually requires at least 2 years of training.
And how do you even prove that?
It all comes down to the U.S. Department of Labor's OneNet online database.
Okay, so we're going down a rabbit hole here.
We are.
With all these career possibilities.
Let me give you an example.
Okay, I like example.
Let's say you're a pastry chef.
Okay.
Delicious.
Oh, it really is.
You'd think with the culinary school and the apprenticeships,
Yes, for sure.
he'd be a shoo-in.
Right.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
On OneNet, some pastry chefs fall under Job Zone 2,
Okay.
which often means you need less than 2 years of training.
Oh, wow. I see.
That's where things get really tricky.
That's really interesting.
Just because a job needs a lot of skill and dedication
Yeah.
doesn't mean it automatically aligns with what the DV lottery requires.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
It's just so specific.
it is.
It really is. So we've tackled those eligibility hurdles.
And what hurdles they are.
It feels like you really have to be an Olympian to even get to the application.
Oh, tell me about it.
But let's say you've made it.
You're one of the lucky few.
You've cleared those hurdles.
You're ready to go.
Are you ready for this application?
Oh, man.
Have you ever seen a document that could make even the most organized person sweat?
It is a bit intense, I have to say.
Because this thing is intense.
For sure.
It's really thorough.
And with good reason.
What do you mean?
The DV lottery gets millions of applicants every year.
Oh, wow.
Millions.
Okay, so they've really got to narrow it down. They
What?
have to.
So yeah, the instructions are super clear.
Yeah.
It has to be accurate and complete.
And they're not messing around.
Yep.
A misplaced comma?
A forgotten signature.
Something small like that.
That's it. You're done.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure.
It can be the difference between your application getting accepted
Yeah.
or ending up in the trash.
So it's all about dotting your I's and crossing your T's.
Essentially, yes.
Maybe like 1,000 times.
At least.
1,000 times. And speaking of these little tiny details that can really make or break your chances.
Yeah.
Let's talk photos.
Okay.
That one little square
Yeah.
that's supposed to represent all your hopes and dreams.
To a computer.
It's a pure algorithm.
Right.
It's a bigger deal than you think.
Way bigger.
It really is.
The requirements are so specific.
They're very specific.
And honestly, kind of funny.
Yeah. What's your favorite rule?
It has to be recent, from the last 6 months.
Okay.
Plain white background, neutral expression.
Okay.
You can't even smile too much.
What?
You can't wear a hat.
Oh.
No hats.
Wow.
You can't even wear, like, a uniform.
They say that.
That's
but
in there, yeah.
So the algorithm can't even, like, figure out what your job is?
It doesn't like that, apparently.
You know what gets me?
With that?
They even mention headphones as a no-go.
No kidding.
Imagine that. You get rejected.
Because of your earbuds.
Their AirPods are photobombing your chance at the American dream.
It sounds so funny,
It really does.
but it's true.
Wow.
Those photo rules,
Yeah.
they're there for a reason.
Why is that?
Because the government uses facial recognition software.
Oh, wow.
It compares all the photos people submit
To other applications.
to any other applications or
Yeah.
times they've come to the U.S.
Interesting.
It's all about security and
Right.
stopping fraud.
That's really interesting. So I guess those rules, even though we laugh,
They're important.
they really are there for a reason.
They are.
Speaking of serious business,
Yes.
let's move on to another section that can make or break your application.
Okay.
The part about your family.
Oh, yes.
Spouses and children.
Right.
You can't leave anything out here, can you?
Not a single thing.
Really?
The instructions are so clear about this.
Okay.
You have to include your spouse,
Even if you're fighting.
even if you're going through a rough patch,
Wow.
unless you have that official court order saying you're legally separated.
So none of this taking a break stuff.
Nope, not gonna fly.
Not for the DV lottery.
Have a chance.
So if you're thinking about using a fresh start in a new country as an excuse to leave your spouse,
Yep.
you've got to make that call before you even apply.
100%.
And when it comes to the kids, it gets even more interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me more.
You have to include every child under 21
Wow.
who legally depends on you.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't matter if they live with you,
Oh,
if they plan to move with you,
interesting.
or if you've ever even thought about buying them a plane ticket.
So you really have to list everybody.
Everybody.
It's like they want the whole family portrait no matter where everybody lives.
Exactly.
That's really interesting.
It's one of those common mistakes people make.
Oh, really?
They think it's only about the people coming with them,
Yeah.
but that's not it at all.
Interesting.
If you don't mention all your kids,
Yeah.
even if you just forget,
You're disqualified.
that's it, you're out.
That is high stakes.
Very high.
It's a good thing we're doing this then, to let everybody know
Here to help.
about these little details that are easy to overlook.
Exactly.
So let's say you've survived the gauntlet.
You've made it.
You've dotted your I's,
Cross your seats.
uploaded your earbud-free photo,
Looking good in that photo.
and you've included every single member of your family.
Wow. What an accomplishment.
Now what?
Now we play the waiting game.
It's nail-biting time, isn't it?
It really is.
You've jumped through all the hoops,
You've done it.
submitted your application,
Hit that submit button.
and now
Now we wait.
talk about pressure.
Intense, right.
So how do you even know?
Yeah, how do you know?
If you've hit the jackpot,
Right.
do they send you confetti?
I wish.
Does Uncle Sam personally come knock on your door?
Wouldn't that be nice?
I know, right?
Sadly, no. It's much less exciting than that.
Oh, man.
The only way to find out,
Okay.
and I mean the only way,
All right, I'm listening.
is to grab that confirmation number you got, the one
Right.
from when you applied,
Okay.
and go to the EDV website.
To the entrance status check, right.
Yes, that's the one.
That confirmation number is like,
So important.
it's everything.
Don't lose it.
It's like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
A golden ticket.
Right, but instead of a chocolate river at the end?
It's the American dream.
Exactly.
So let's say our lucky listener logs on,
okay.
confirmation number in hand.
Fingers crossed.
They got it.
They're in.
Those digital doors to the American dream just swing open.
Time to celebrate.
What happens next?
Well, first, you celebrate.
Of course, of course.
Pop the champagne. But when you're done celebrating,
Yeah.
things get real.
Okay.
It's time to switch gears
From hopeful applicant to what?
to strategic action taker.
Oh, I like it.
Because getting selected,
Yeah.
it doesn't just beam you over to the U.S.
Oh, okay.
It just means you can APYY for the visa,
Oh, I see.
which means get ready,
4.
paperwork, fees, background checks.
Fun stuff. Oh, and the interview?
Of course, there's always an interview.
Oh,
It's like acing the first round of auditions.
yes.
But then there are 4 more rounds,
Right.
including a live performance
No, no.
in front of Simon Cowell himself.
The pressure.
Timing is everything here, bro.
This isn't something you just stroll through.
Definitely not. Once you're selected
Yeah.
for DV 2026,
Right.
the clock is ticking.
How long do they have?
They have to get everything done, all the paperwork, the interviews,
Yeah.
by September 30, 2026.
No extension.
Nope. That is the deadline.
Wow. So with this much pressure,
And this much potential.
it's got to attract some shady characters, right?
Unfortunately, you're right.
People looking to take advantage.
The DV 2026 instructions and FAQs actually spends a lot of time on this,
Oh, really?
talking about scams.
So how do our listeners protect themselves? How can they spot these scams?
Okay, here's the biggest red flag.
I'm ready.
Money.
Okay.
The U.S. government will never,
Never.
ever ask you to send money in a weird way.
Like what's a weird
Like Western Union.
Oh.
Especially not before you've even been officially selected.
They would never ask you to send money before then.
Never.
So if you get one of those emails.
Promising you a guaranteed win
Right, right.
or saying they can speed things up if you pay rent.
Yeah. It's like that saying,
What's that?
if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck.
It's probably a duck trying to scam you.
Exactly.
And always check those emails. See if they look right.
You mean like typos and stuff?
Yeah, typos, bad grammar.
Okay.
And those URLs, make sure they end in .gov.
Not .com, .org, all of that.
Exactly. Because a real government website.
It's always .gov.
Always.
It sounds like we really need to channel our internet sleuths for this.
You got it.
Be skeptical, do your homework,
Yes.
and if anything feels off,
Trust your gut.
that's really good advice.
And if you're ever unsure about anything,
Yeah.
talk to a qualified immigration attorney.
Okay.
They can give you solid advice.
Right.
Help you do things the right way.
Legally and ethically, right?
Exactly. And they'll give you some peace of mind.
Because it can be stressful.
Super stressful.
That's really great advice.
Thanks.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We really have.
From those eligibility requirements to the application.
Dodging those scammers, too.
So much good information.
Trying to keep everybody safe.
What's the one thing you really want our listeners to remember from all of this?
The diversity visa program.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, you know? It's a mix of luck,
You got to be lucky.
but you also got to have a plan.
A strategy.
Exactly. You have to pay attention to every little detail
Dot those I's, cross those T's.
1,000 times. It can be life-changing,
It really can.
but it's not easy.
not for the faint of heart.
If you're willing to put in the work, though,
Do your research.
and be really careful
It could be your ticket.
to a whole new chapter.
I love that. This has been so informative.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right?
There's so much more.
So grab those DV 2026 instructions and FAQs.
Read them carefully.
You might be surprised what you find.
You never know.
This time next year, you could be well on your way.
To living the American dream.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive.
Thank you for having me.
It's been such a pleasure chatting with you as always.
Likewise, and best of luck to all our listeners out there.
We'll be back next time with another deep dive. See you then.